So, in my experience, the worst part about being overweight, um, it was definitely the feeling. And what I'll mean is that you don't realize it until you lose the weight, how easier it is to be happy, not for superficial reasons, but for reasons of there's no ups and downs. You don't feel good when you eat food and then feel bad after 2 or 3 hours after that. Because what it actually is that when you're overweight or heavy, in order to stay in that condition, you have to continually be spiking your blood sugar up, which has to fall down and crash later. And so what you're doing is you're creating a really hormonal okay, I feel good because my blood sugar's good, my cells are able to absorb the energy, and everything's going great. Blood sugar crashes, your cells are becoming insulin resistant. They can no longer absorb the amount of sugar that's in your blood because it's not enough, and that's the downside of it, and so you have to eat more. And so, for me, when I was overweight, I didn't think that, if somebody could have told me that, I would have been like, dude, you're full of bullshit. You're full of it. I don't even believe it. It doesn't make sense. You're just an idiot. You're another idiot. And it wasn't until I actually started learning about it, honestly, in my own reflection and like need to figure out how this whole how to lose weight. Because see, I had plateaued at 225 pounds, and I'm currently about 178. And so what it took for me to get that first and foremost was I couldn't even imagine myself having vascularity like veins, or I couldn't imagine myself, looking slim and having like that good triangle cut. I couldn't imagine myself. I mean, if I did, what kind of car was I driving then? Where was I going out to eat? Who was I hanging out with in my friend group? What was I doing? What was I not doing throughout my day? Was I still working at that same job? I probably was. Was I talking to new girls? I don't, And so I couldn't even imagine what that reality would look like for me. And it wasn't until while I was heavy that I started to take time to consciously try to meditate, try to meditate, right? So just be able to close your eyes and focus on your breathing. All the other thoughts are irrelevant, and it took me a while. It takes 3 days to be able to not get lost on whatever mind tangents the prefrontal cortex will take you down. I mean, there's a downfall to having this good thinking brain, this new evolved brain 2.0 or whatever you want to call it, is you can get lost in all the tangents it'll take us down. And so a little bit of meditation for about maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever you can struggle. And that's what I would do. And this was July of last year. And then after doing that, trying to block out the thoughts and just focus on the breathing, immediately I would flip into another gear where I would just take the one thought of what would it imagine? What would I look like? What would I talk like? How would I walk? Who would I interact with? I would try to picture that. Oh man, I probably brush my teeth more. Oh man, I would probably, maybe I would be driving this car. Imagine myself in that car, Really, really use the imagination, because that's where the thought precedes, is the imagination, It's just like an artist painting on a canvas. I mean, reality is something that it's self-induced, whether you consciously accept that or not. They say that we're all self-made, but only the successful will admit it. And so I did some of that, consciously focusing on what I wanted, what it would look like in my mind with my eyes closed. And then I would pray, and I would be thankful like I already have it today in this moment. I did that for about a month. And whatever it sparked in me, I discovered keto. And, most of the work has to be done internally. Keto was just the tool by which I was able to lose the weight. You can lose weight many different diets. Keto just happened to be the one that I had done the internal work, been looking around, and that was the one that I discovered. I delved deep into the scientific processes of the metabolism, and the rest is history. But I will tell you this: the difference between being fat and not is as clear as night and day. One of the biggest factors, if you are overweight and you're watching this, is to, you know, do intermittent fasting. That's probably the biggest piece of advice that I would give. Do intermittent fasting, and, in order to be satisfied by food, you have to be hungry. In order to be happy about something, you have to be hungry. It takes a lot of hunger in life to be satisfied with what you have. And so I would encourage some intermittent fasting and just really take time to really just purge yourself, kind of starve yourself, let yourself starve a little bit. And it's the good thing, because what happens is when you do fasting or intermittent fasting, your body goes into autophagy. See, there's a whole lot of broken dead cells in your body that will never get processed and recycled and broken down and stripped of their amino acids and stuff if they don't ever get the time to look for new energy sources. If they're constantly getting food stuffed down and stuffed into your body. So I hope that helps, guys. Done.